So in today's class, you're going to learn about TestNG. We're going to build a TestNG framework, show you how to do that. We will show you some of the methods and tricks that come with TestNG, such as before method, after method, kind of similar to what you saw in JUnit framework. We're going to do different priorities and see how they run. We'll talk about the TestNG reports, how they look like. I'll show you what are utility classes and how we can use base page to extend methods from one class to the other. And if we have time, I will show you how to validate using array list, and also been trying to show you how to do try catch to control your failure. Hopefully I'll have time today, but no promises. Eventually I will show you in one of the test cases, but really the goal is to cover this material first, carry on from there. Let's take a look at what is TestNG. So the TestNG is just basically another testing tool like JUnit, and it's a little more advanced, gives you a little more features than what JUnit would be doing. The NG test stands for next generation, and then they put those two words together to name it TestNG. Some of the reports that are generated through the TestNG cannot be found in JUnit. One of them is the emailable HTML file report. And there's also an HTML.index file that can be posted online, and you can just check your online wherever that's posted to see if any test case is failing and just look at the report there instead of opening up your IDE, which is Eclipse. So that makes it very easy. You want to only open up Eclipse when you want to code your test case, but you really don't want to look at your 100 test cases running failure in Eclipse because it's not very visually friendly. So these reports will make it much nicer. Even though TestNG is nice, but it's not the nicest. There are better tools out there. Another name you might hear from me later is called Serenity, which is another tool that you would have to install, and there's a lot of dependencies there, which I am still learning how to do that. And it's very time consuming, just don't have that enough time to research and integrate yet. But those are also very much of a free tool. TestNG uses an testng.xml file that can be integrated into the project to run your test cases in a different priority settings. You can run your only the failed test cases if you wanted to. You can control all that through the XML file. Today's class, I won't have enough time to do that, but we have a class dedicated for that. So we'll show you how to handle that later down the road. Definitely, TestNG integrates with Maven and Jenkins very well, and it also gives you the capability of running multiple tests parallelly. And that means 2 or 3 test cases can be run at the same time. Also, not enough scope of this course that I can actually show you how to do that. Those are also very much of a architect level work. You really don't need to worry about any of that. Your job is going to be automating test cases, but as far as TestNG and how it works or framework wise, you don't have to build a framework. You don't have to know how to build a framework for your job that you're going to be going into. But it's nice if you know a little bit about it in case they ask you, tweak you a question here and there, that you sound familiar with this information. So that's why this the whole idea of this information is. Now, you saw JUnit has annotations that we used. Mainly, we use the @test annotation, um, and we used the before and after. TestNG has something similar, but has more than what JUnit provides. We still have the same annotation called @test, which will actually make your method, test method, act like a test case. One of the questions you guys asked me that is there a way that I can run a test before another test? With TestNG, you can use this parameter called priority equals 1 or 2 or 3 or 4, and the smallest number will get run first and the largest number will get run last. There's another setting here you can call always run equals true or always run equals false. You can change this to a false and it will do what it says. Among a lot of the tags that are there, uh, there are some that are heavily used than the others. And as your framework gets bigger and bigger, you might need to use a lot of these. But for our small project that we're going to be building, I think these 4 are enough. And one thing to notice is the difference between this before and this before test and before method. Before test is basically even before any kind of test is done, it will execute and then stop. Versus before method is every time it sees a method, a test method, it will execute every time before that method. Versus, let's say you have 10 test cases and you run the 10 test case, you have a before test, it will run it once, run all the 10 test cases, and then be done. And then if you say after test, that will be one last one after test right there, and then be done. Versus before method, it's going to be each of these test cases are your methods. It's going to run every time you run a test case or a test method. And that will be your before, and the after method is going to be that after the test case. So I'll show you, try to integrate. Definitely we're going to be doing this before method and after method like we did in JUnit. We may be able to use this before test. I can check it out. Any questions about what is JUnit or some of this information here before we go and build the project? Okay, quick overview of this class is your Eclipse might need a plugin, and the way to tell if you need a plugin is by looking into your Eclipse. Let me start that up and going into preferences, which I had to install mine this morning. So what I'll do is I'll try to look at one of yours instead of working on mine and really create the project in your platform and everybody else can watch and follow that. So the way to check whether your Eclipse has TestNG plugin or not, some versions already come with it. This one didn't seem like, even though it's one of the latest. You go to Window. Let me get this tool out. So you go to this window menu and click on preferences and then look for something called TestNG. If you don't have that, you most likely don't have it installed or that plugin installed, but no worries, there are ways to do that. Um, the easiest way to do that is going into Help menu and then going into Eclipse Marketplace. And in here, if you type in search for TestNG and hit enter, you'll get something called TestNG for Eclipse, and then you install it, finish it. This will probably ask you to restart your Eclipse, and then go back into the Windows preference and check to see if you have that. So that's your prerequisite. Don't do it yet. Let me just give you an overview, and then I'll pick a student to actually do that on their platform. You can follow along if you want to at the moment. Now, sometimes that easy method does not work, and there are some ways that you can force download it, and this information is in here on this page. It's basically going into this website here, and yeah, where's this? But hopefully you're not gonna need to do that. But I've had some versions that needed this particular way of force downloading. So let's see. I'm not gonna waste your time on that unless you really have to. Building the test project is the same. I just wrote coming soon. I'll put some instructions in there. Just like you build a JUnit project, you're going to follow and do the same. I have been this morning experimenting with various other dependencies and so forth, but some are hit or miss and they work or they not. And I don't have unlimited time to go research the web to come up with a solution. But I've noticed that these particular versions right here, and I've tried several other versions that had problems. I tried to do the very latest Selenium Java that was causing some issues. So I have a prescribed set of dependencies here. You can just copy this and put it in your notepad and copy it into your Palm, and that should be just fine. So we'll do that. Here's another view of the annotations. And this is probably the most, from the highest hierarchy to the lowest hierarchy goes here. This, if you have before suit, this will run the fastest first before anything else gets run. Then comes the before test, before class, and then before method. Now, before method will always run every time for each test case. So there's a cutoff point right here. If you have a particular class, suppose this is a class, and in this class you saw we had various @ tests. So this before method will run before this test and before this test and before this test, so multiple times. And then after method will run also. As many test methods you have, it will run as many times. Before class will only run if you have one class here called login test. Called a login test class. This will only run once. And you may have 5 test cases or 3, let's say 1, 2, and 3 test cases. After class will run after these 3 test cases are done, that means it's also going to run one time for each class. Now, if you have this method in every classes, it will run in every class, but one time. And before test is only one time before your any test starts, and then after test is going to finish that. Now, these are very much of an architect level stuff. There are things that when you have a lot of classes and a lot of projects inside a project, you might need to initiate something, you might need to create a bunch of variables and set everything up. There might be a lot of properties that need settings. In that case, the architects might go with these annotations and use these and use them in the hierarchy of opening up, setting up properties and configurations and things like that, and then get into tests. And then when the test is done, close everything up and close the project and clean up everything. But you, as a regular tester, you don't need to worry about that. This is a little bit of notes of telling you that these execute only once, and before method and after method can test each time you run a test case. Class codes are here from the previous class that I had with the batch. Some interview questions. Try to see if you can answer these. This link will take you to the answers. Practice that. And there's a homework right here. It's add a new account. All the steps are in here. And try to automate that and demo it to me when you get a chance. Thursdays are reserved for you guys, by the way, for any kind of homework questions or if you wanted to demo and make sure it works and so forth. So that's when you want to, if you need a quick or like one-on-one attention and get a dedicated time to spend with me, schedule that. Let me know that you are available or you want to meet up. Otherwise, if you are adding, like let's say a couple of days from now, you're trying to code and you get stuck on something, you're welcome to send me a screenshot. You're welcome to give me a call. And if I'm not busy, I can jump in and maybe give you some suggestions. Often I can see your code and tell you over the phone. If you send me a screenshot, I can tell you that here's the mistake and what you need to fix to get it working. So don't hesitate to do that. Don't wait for the Thursday afternoon to do that. All right, let's build a TestNG project and we're going to do it the same way. But I'm going to take a volunteer because I already have it here. Let me reset perspective. So Jisti, you're going to be the volunteer. Raju and Stanley, you guys do it in your computer as you watch. Reset.
Yeah, please give me the link to share.
Okay, except when you're ready. Can you all see his screen? Raju, Stanley, are you able to see just his screen?
No, it's not that clear.
No. It's black.
It's black though, yeah. I mean he has this
Okay.
he has a dark theme, but I'm able to see it. Are you?
Yes.
Okay.
it's
The
very
coding was
tiny.
very nice to see when you write.
All right. Stop me if you feel like, no, this is not clear enough. I'm just gonna go into Windows and reset perspective to get the window looking like original. All right. And in here, um, right click. Well, let's look at to see if he has TestNG. So go to Windows, Preferences, and I don't see TestNG. So cancel. Help, Eclipse Marketplace. Just I'm using your mouse, so
Okay.
if you're moving your mouse, then it won't. Yeah. So go to Eclipse Marketplace, and in here, might take a few seconds to load. You go and type in the search box, TestNG, hit enter, and you want to see TestNG for Eclipse. I'll wait here. Let me know if you can't find it, and give me a yes or no.
I could not follow you.
What do you mean?
For me, I just added already. I have it.
Raju?
No, from the very beginning, where should I go?
So go to Help.
Yes,
Are you watching
help.
the screen?
Yeah,
Okay.
help.
Go to Eclipse Marketplace.
Eclipse Marketplace. Yes, got it.
What you can do is you can have this presentation window. You can have his presentation window split screen like this.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have your, let's say, Eclipse window on the right side.
I have both minimized both of them. So at the same time, I'm doing it.
I see. This might be easier that you're watching the presentation while you're doing it on your Eclipse. If you just minimize and pull, you might be missing out some of my instruction and then slowing down yourself. So that might be a good option here. So go to Help. Are you here so far?
Yes.
Eclipse Marketplace,
Hmm.
and type in TestNG and click Enter to search.
Yes, got it.
Do you see TestNG for Eclipse?
Yes.
Click on Install. Did it come to this window for you?
Yeah.
Click Confirm. Did you get to this screen?
Yeah.
Accept, finish.
Done.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Now go back into your window, Preferences.
Just say it. What is this again? Is it trust?
Yes. So looks like it's still working on the background. Trust, select all. So if you get this window called trust,
Select
come
all.
here, select all,
Trust selected.
and you can say always trust all content.
Okay.
Accept the risk.
Mm-hmm.
And then trust selected.
Yes.
I think that's it. It should ask you to restart. Let me just close this window.
Restart now.
Yeah, go ahead and restart. After restarting, you want to
Mm-hmm.
check window,
Window.
preferences,
Preferences.
and make sure you
Yes.
see the word called TestNG.
Yes.
Okay,
It's
you
there.
can close. That's it. Cancel this window out. That
Mm-hmm.
was just there to double check you have TestNG. Right click on this empty box.
Mm-hmm.
New
Mm-hmm.
project,
Project.
Maven project.
Yes.
Next. Next.
Yes.
We're here. Type in Maven dot or the dash archetype dash quick start.
Maven.archetype.
Yeah, you can go to this all catalogs and take this one,
Maven. What do you type? Maven.archetype.
Maven dash archetype
Dash.
dash quick start.
And
You
which
see this
one?
1.4?
Which one?
Make sure your catalog shows all catalogs.
1.4. I have selected.
Select that, hit next.
Previously, I think we selected 1.1. I mean, is it like for TestNG we have to select 1.4?
If yours working with 1.1, you're fine. If you follow the video,
No, it's
Okay.
but I've seen some issues come up with this latest Eclipse. So where are you, Raju, now?
it's not accepting. I've selected I have chosen org.apache.maven.archetypes 1.4
Uh-huh.
and
You clicked once on it to select it, right?
yes, it's
And then
selected and I click next.
and what does it say?
Next window,
Which is this window.
new Maven project, enter an artifact ID.
Right. So you are here. You're good. Just give it a name of today's class, TestNG dash project. Okay. And
Just
uncheck
TestNG.
this box called Run Archetype Generation Interactively. You want to
Yes.
uncheck this
Mm-hmm.
and then
Yeah.
click on Finish. Same thing we have been doing. No
Oh, right.
difference. I
Yes.
did not do anything different yet. For the same JUnit test that project that we're building, we're still building the same one. The only difference is going to be the dependencies. So let's see if this project is here or not. It's not here yet.
Yes. I can see it yet.
It's still loading on 33. Jisty, because you downloaded this into your VM, probably a
It just
reason why
started. It just
this is
started.
slow.
It just started.
Yeah, your performance on this computer is slow. Mine is much faster than this.
Yeah, if it were on the host machine, then it will be faster. I do understand.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's done.
Build success. Did you get a build success?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. If you got a build success, you should see also this project show up on this project explorer, TestNG project.
Yeah.
At this point, go ahead and clean up some of these packages. Right click, delete. Only for the top two. Delete.
Like the Maven project, right?
Exactly. And then you
Yeah.
want to add the driver folder. Again, nothing new. Folder, we name it driver. There's that folder. Let's get the driver, which is Chrome driver. And just want to double check that Chrome what version he has. .110. Chrome is up to date. Okay, 110. And on his previous project, arrays and collections, no,
Oh,
quality is strong. Looks like, Chisty, you haven't done much. Yeah.
so you go
Have
through
you
your
not even
directions
built?
and
Oh,
yeah,
there you go. And this one indicating 109, so this is not going to work. So you make sure that you change this to 110 if you want to run any of these test cases. It won't run. Let's go ahead and download 110. Because on the background, your Chrome browser will automatically download and update itself. Already at 111 out there. So any day, your computer, your browser will automatically download that. And then all other test cases won't work anymore.
I'm sorry. How to check the driver
You go here on
version?
your Chrome browser.
Version? What version I have? How to check that?
Do you see my screen?
Yes.
You click on these three dots. Go to Help, About Google.
Just help. Where is help?
All the way in the bottom.
Okay.
About
Yes.
Google.
About Google Chrome.
We have done this before, Raju.
Yes.
And then do you see the version?
109.
Then you have to stick with 109. If your project already has, or if you ever downloaded 109, just stay with that. You don't
Okay.
need to change it. Different user will have different version. You
Ah,
have
I
to
see.
make sure your project has the right version that your computer has.
Okay.
His is 110, so I need 110, but his probably was 109 yesterday.
Oh,
And today it got changed to 110. Overnight, probably it updated itself. I like to check that because I don't want to do all my work and then run it and then it
so
fails.
if my browser is 110, then I have to download the driver again and update all the files in our projects.
That's right. Every one of those projects that you have older Chrome driver, you have to
Hmm?
update those with whatever the browser that yours is running.
Otherwise, it is not going to run.
Otherwise, it's not going to run. It won't be able to even pull up the browser.
Got it.
So now I'm going to go to 110, download 110. So here's download Chrome driver. And notice 111 is already there. So any day yours could update to 111. You have to update all your projects with Chrome driver 111. For now, I'm just going to do 110 and go
So
to
it's not,
Windows.
if it does not automatically update, can we do it ourselves manually?
There may be a way to do that, but I don't know at the moment.
Okay.
I just check. So I click on Windows 32, Chrome driver, download it right here. I can just go to this folder, go to downloads folder. Should be there on the top of the list right there. Double clicking will open up the zip file and take me to the Chrome. Should not. This one right here with the .exe file. I can click on that, Control C to copy, close this window, go to local drive, create a, I don't know, maybe go to just right click here.
Earlier, I went through the program files.
That's fine. I'll just create a folder here called driver. So it's easy to find. You don't have to go all this far. Inside the driver folder, I'm going to Control V paste. That didn't work. Let's try that again. Maybe I need to extract it. Right click,
You can extract it here.
extract file, extract here. Okay. Extract here. There it is. Copy that and paste it inside drivers folder. There it is. Now I can go to this project driver and then take this file, drag and drop. Copy. And make sure it shows up. Were you able to bring that Chrome driver to your?
Yeah. I already done
Okay,
that.
sounds good.
Um,
So here's the
I
POM
have,
file.
I have a question, like,
Yes, Stanley.
yeah, I mean, is it if we link the driver file, is it wise to link or is it be better to copy?
I have not tried that, so I won't be able to answer for that.
Okay. Because every time we need to update this one. So if we can link it,
You can't
it
look,
will
look,
become better.
there's so many things you can do. Whether it's gonna work or not, and how to do it, I have not done it, but you're welcome to try. I'm not gonna say it's not gonna work. Actually, there might be other smart ways of doing that. You might actually research the web and come up with some solutions that I don't even know.
Hmm.
Honestly, maybe 2 months from now, you are gonna know all the information that I know about test automation. And from there, you can actually become a better, more knowledgeable person in test automation than I am. So, so keep that window open and go out there, find things, and if you learn something new, come back and teach us. That'd be nice.
Hmm. Okay.
Look here, going to go in here and change this again.
1.8.
Same process, 1.8. Why? Because I had problems with 1.7. That's why. Don't know why it's causing problems. Researched the web and found out that other people were having the same problem, and then they had a solution there. So I picked up from
I
the
copied
documentation.
in the notepad. So you can go to my notepad and you can copy the dependencies.
All right, but
Yeah,
I still want to show so that Raju can see and it's recorded in the video. So go to automationlessons.com again, and here go to that particular class. We have TestNG, and dependencies are here. So you can just copy, paste it into Notepad. I want to update now. And there it is. But I'll just do it again. There. Copy it from here. There should be 4 of them. And then go into your project. Can you open, Tisty, can you open
you're on?
the Eclipse, please?
Okay.
Yeah, I think I exited out. Oh, there you go. Yeah. Okay, cool. So here, I'm going to paste it inside this dependency sandwich. Paste it in here. And you can take these extra lines off if you want to, but be careful. Don't delete anything important here. I'm just gonna leave it, don't worry about it. Control Shift F will align it. That's good enough. There shouldn't be any X marks or errors showing up here. You can press Control S for saving. And keep your eyes down here. You will see it's downloading all the dependencies. I'm going to close other projects out to make this view cleaner. Looks like that's done. And at this point, you right click on the project and go to Run As, Maven Build.
So we should
This
click the second one or third one. Is there any limitation?
first one. And then type in clean install,
Install.
run, and you want to make sure that you're getting a build success in the console.
Clean install, no space between them.
Space there.
Space, yes.
My one's showing build failure.
Hmm?
My one's showing build failure.
Which archetype did you pick?
Build success.
No, 1.4.
Okay. There must have been a process that went wrong. That's all I can say. But this morning I have built like maybe 4 times this same project just to make sure that it's all tweaked everywhere good. It's working. So you can try again. Build success for Raju?
Yeah.
Okay. So how about this? We take few minutes break, but before that, let me run a test case to because this build success is not enough for the test case to run. There could be more issues. Stanley, you can redo this. Just go ahead and delete that project and start over. Also, we'll take a few minutes break so you will have enough time. You build this project many times, so there's shouldn't be any problem.
Should I choose 1.1?
No. Go with the same thing that I just showed, 1.4, and follow the same steps.
Okay.
Let me quickly still, I could still have an error here, so Raju will also do this. Create a package. You're not out of the hole until your test runs and no problem. So I'm creating a test package under this test folder and create a class called login test.
What did you name the package?
Test.
Test.
And the class name called it
Oh,
login
you created the package under test or main?
under test.
Under test.
We don't work in main yet. We'll
I
start
see.
working on the main maybe a weekend or 2 weekends from now.
Okay.
You know the drill. System dot set property. Is it systems dot I have to put it inside a method, sorry. Public void, we can just say login to take files. And here, system dot set property WebDriver dot Chrome dot driver, and the path goes here. We find the path from the driver folder and going into the properties of Chrome driver and take this extension from this driver. It's the file extension and put a dot saying anywhere inside the project. You find that. And the next WebDriver, we instantiate the WebDriver. Give it a name driver, new,
Home driver.
new Chrome driver. Chrome driver, and import these. Imported. We can say driver.get
Then
and
the TestNG file.
you probably have that somewhere, right? Maybe here.
Maven quality or class file, not anywhere.
How about this?
That is introduction to Selenium. Yeah.
So I can just copy this and then click login. Just paste it here. Quitting the driver. And the difference is over here at the rate test. If you hover over, you're gonna notice this time a TestNG annotation come in. And there's this add TestNG to the library instead of JUnit. This might show up anyway, but don't take the JUnit. You would need to take the TestNG library. Either way, I've seen it work without even taking that. If you just click on import test, which is TestNG annotation, that is fine as well. Let me just take this TestNG library. I saw working in both ways. And even after you add a TestNG library, if your error does not go away, you may have to do one more click of import TestNG annotation as well. Computer is slow. I clicked on it
Get
already.
double click.
And still not going away. Okay, I'm going to remove this TestNG library from here. I don't know if it's a computer issue. I want to say build path and remove from build path. Let's do it again and delete that. Make sure everything is all good. Save it. All errors are gone. And really difficult to work remotely on another computer. Mouse is very sensitive. Come on. And at this point, at the rate test, here's a recommendation of a fix. I'll just go with import and hopefully that will resolve. Yes. So if you have problems with that, just don't add it to the library, just import it. This is new. This thing would not show up before run and debug. So I don't know, they may have some more features added to it. First time I'm noticing those two show up right here, down here. So at this point, I'm going to save it and then kick off a run, which you can click on this button if you want to, or right click here and do run as, and now you will see something called TestNG test. If you don't have that, just click on run configuration and then run, and it will automatically show up next round. So let's run it. Yeah, it's very slow. There's Chrome driver started. Finished. Passed. Build success. All looking good. Look at right here. It tells me that one test case ran 0 failures. This is what you want. One other way you can run this is right click, run as. Actually, you can do it like this. On the project, right click, run as, and say Maven test. That works too. This might give you a little more information on the console. Let's see. What it does, it updates the Maven files and pulls everything. If there's anything needed to download, it gets downloaded. Then the test starts, finishes the test, gives you that information, plus ends with the build success. That's it. That's what you need to check to see if your TestNG framework is working or not. After the break, I'm going to show you what are some of the wonderful features that we have here in TestNG. As far as the report goes, we're going to automate a test case, and in this framework, also show you the report at the end, and that will be the end of our class. Any questions before we get into the breaks? Stanley,
Only
were
you
you
are
able to?
checking the login driver.quit. That's your testing. Okay. Okay. Got it.
Do you want me to paste this code?
No.
Okay, I'll paste it anyway. Stanley, were you able
Okay.
to spin up another project?
Yes, this time it works. Second time is fine.
All right, good job. That's the dependencies that I just pasted. And let me paste this code here. Go ahead and fix yours, or if not, just run things and see, oh, it just it's not gonna let me copy from yours and paste it into the chat box in mine.
Okay, so
If you want to
now,
copy, if you just want to copy this blocked code and paste it into the chat box for me,
yes,
I'll
I can do it.
all
All
right,
right.
sounds good. We'll see you in, let's take a 10 minutes break. I'm gonna have some breakfast.
Okay.
Already, who did it? Did you do it? Sam?
I'm yes.
All right.
Yes.
Okay. So I already have a project here. So we'll just work on that, which is, let me just create one project.
Another project?
No, I'm creating one. I mean,
Okay.
because I don't have that same one in my platform. I have some test projects that I created,
Okay.
which may not look good if you wanted to watch the video again. So
Okay.
TestNG dash project finish. That ought to do it. Here's the TestNG project. Delete that. Driver. Copy the driver. Home file 1.8. Delete this dependency. Go into notes. If that. Where's my notepad? Paste it. Copy it. Understand that if you have a face-to-face interview and they ask you to code something, you're gonna have to create, I would recommend already have something set up like this. If not, create one. But it's gonna be a big trouble if your project doesn't work in front of them while you're trying to build it. Unless you're very good and got your practice going, I would not recommend you build a project in front of them. Have one ready on your Eclipse because you have to pull up your Eclipse and show them. So They don't really
So they will
care
allow
whether you're. Mhm.
they will allow us to bring our laptop also.
Yes.
Okay.
They won't really care whether, um, if you know how to build a project or not. They want you to run a test case. As you're building a test case, they want to see if you're able to build a test case, if you know the Selenium, if you know how to validate. Those are things that they're looking for. But you could really block yourself if you don't have the enough practice to build a project. So let's say you started building a project in front of them and then it doesn't work. That would be super embarrassing. So I would recommend you have a project ready to go for an interview, that you just go in and add code to do your test. But if you're really good at it and you have been building this project daily or every other day or so, and you're like, no big deal, I see it work all the time, you figured out your fast way of doing this, then sure, go for it, build the project, show them that you have a bit of a architect level of expertise in that case. But be careful, because sometimes things go wrong and you might set yourself up for some embarrassments. So do as little as possible to get yourself out of there as shiny as possible. So I got those dependencies posted here, and at this point, going here, run as Maven build, clean, install. We're good. So let's take a look at a test case that we're going to automate, and hopefully I'll be able to show you a few things while doing so. Here's an option called notes, and you're able to add notes by clicking on add notes, and you could put something, whatever you want to put in. This morning I saw it was completely empty, so I added a bunch of these: recipe, title, and then some information in there from the website. Suppose you want to add a recipe call recipe 1, or do a random number, because you really don't care whether it's a real recipe or not. You could put in recipe 1, 2, 3, let's say a random number, and then put some information in here, which doesn't really matter. You really don't need to validate information here. But you could just say test comment underscore, maybe a 1, 2, 3, another random number, and then you hit submit. Test comment or content. And your validation is going to be to look for this inside in this list of items that you see here. 1 second. Get my window set up properly so I can do this. There. So this is a list of items. And this list could be a massive list, a huge one. And you have no control over whether whatever you added, is it going to show up at the very bottom? Is it going to show up at the very top? Or what if it shows up alphabetically and set up somewhere in the middle of the list? That could be an issue for you to validate by XPath. So there is a way to do this without having to isolate your XPath to one specific element. The trick is that you take everything that's in here, that you don't really care what's in here, but you take everything, you pick it up. This will be set up as a list for you in Java. We're going to be using the ArrayList class lesson that we had. We're going to utilize those principles in this case. You grab all this, and then you add a method to validate to see if this thing that you just created exists in that list or not. And then you can add an assertion for that statement and pass or fail based on that. You can also delete this and then delete it. Now it's gone, and validate the same way to see if the delete function works or not by taking this as a list and look into this list to see if that recipe underscore 123 show up or not. And if it doesn't show up, you pass the test. If the response comes out as false, that yeah, it doesn't show up, at that point you pass the test. So you design your logic like that. So with this information, let's go ahead and build this test case in our test automation. First, I mean, you can jump in and write up a test case first and then go in there. Typically, there's the test case, and then we go in and automate that. Other times, you might be time pressed and somebody needs you to automate really quickly, and you don't have time to write up the test case. You just go into the code right away. But let's take our time and really develop a test case here, which are the steps. So scenario, we're gonna call it, put this here, add notes, add new note. That's it. Or you could make it as we're saying user should be able to add notes. That's okay too. Given valid user log in to tech files. This is like your whole login method and everything. With this statement, you're logged in. When user goes to notes page and clicks on add new note button, and enters a title and enters random title, a random content, and clicks on submit button, then new node should exist in the list. When user deletes that node, then node should not exist in the list. Any questions on the test case?
No.
Okay. Then let's copy this and we take this as a pseudocode and really want to do that in our test case. This would be the test case method name, add new node, or the test case name. And then we will automate these steps inside our test case. So the class that I want to create is called notes test class because we're working on the notes page. That will be a nice way to organize things. So go into this project, go into this test folder, create a package called test package. And in here, I'm going to create a class called notes test class, finish it, and have a method called public void, and that will be the scenario title, which is add new notes. But I can't just write it like that. It would have to be camel case, add new notes. Go in here. Okay.
I have one question.
Sure.
Okay, so can we use 2 or 3 class in a same project, same package? Like we already created a test package. So under the test package, we already created login test. So
Yes.
can we create another one class under the same test package?
Yes, we're going to do that today.
We can do it, right?
Yes, we're going to
So
do it
in
today.
that case, under the test package, we can use a new class.
Correct. And I'm going to show you today how to communicate with those classes.
Right.
So let's do a baby step first. Let's take our small thing, which is system.setProperty. Let's make sure this project still works fine before we go any deeper into this, because I have not tested that yet. And web driver equals new. We have this code already, so I'm going to copy this code from a previous project. Probably in this one. Right. So here, we have a login method. I can copy that. Let me know if you're not with me so far. This driver is having a problem because this is only created locally. I'm going to take this, paste it
This is
here.
why we are not using add before.
I'm going to do it shortly. But I'm setting up all this first.
Okay.
So there's your driver.get, and you don't need this local in here anymore. You can have a new startup stuff into this public void. We call it startup. So all the settings and things, we can put it in there. I could take this and put it in here. Any question here?
No.
So this is our startup. This is a method for us to log in, but with our annotations or tags. These are called tags or annotations. Means the same thing, which will start with, which will start with symbol @ that. So your TestNG annotation or tag is called before method. That means we want to run this before every one of these test cases that we're going to run, that we're about to build. Hover over and import. And we want to also finish up by closing the driver. So we could say public void close. Your choice. This name, you can call it finish, doesn't matter. Whichever you prefer. And we could just say driver.quit. If you wanted to add some timing here for presentation purposes, thread.sleep.
Trade. It is trade that.
Maybe 2 seconds, looks nice.
Okay.
Okay. But this won't run at the end of the test case until you put the TestNG annotation call after method and import that. Only then this will be run every time you finish a test. So we got our start that way, we got our end that way, and then here's our test case. And here we're going to put this @test. Now TestNG knows that this is your test method. Otherwise, it won't even run it. Now, these are your methods that you can call, which we'll be calling it right here. But let's resolve this first. Just import this test. Make sure it's TestNG, not JUnit. Import. And we're good. Here, what we're doing is we're going into this text file site and we're going to use this login method to log in. So all we have to do is to say login, open, close. And in here, it's asking add arguments to match. You can pick this one if you want to, but basically you need to add this username and password argument with a comma. So the username is, just get that from,
First demo.
yeah, I'm going to copy because I'm getting tired of writing. Here, I want to paste it.
No.
That didn't do it. Control
That is
C,
the username.
paste, and this one, okay, it's maybe C, 1, 2, 3. Okay.
Yeah.
And for now, we can just save this and see if it works before we move into any further. I'm going to save it and run it. Okay. So you have probably noticed that this is a information that only available through TestNG. I don't know if JUnit was showing this or not, but in here,
Yes,
can
JUnit
see-
shows.
JUnit shows that.
JUnit, no, in the console it didn't show, but in the JUnit it showed.
On the JUnit report that was showing up on the left panel, correct?
Yes. Right.
Yes.
So it was something in here, you had a panel and then you could click on the panel and then see it.
Right.
But TestNG has a different way of doing that. It's gonna show you in here in the console, and it's gonna have some files for you that you can look into, which are pretty important files, because then you can load those files into any kind of web service, and then you'll be able to go into that website and be able to see it. So I'm going to run it again, but this time I'm going to say Maven build so you can see more console information. Locators and weights, let me close that. TestNG project, let's go to that project and say Maven test. And a little more colorful. I like this better. And then you have this one test, zero failure, and so forth. But not enough information. Where the information is going to be is if you right click on that project and hit refresh, or you can press the F5 button. If you refresh, you will notice that in here, let me close all of these. I don't know if you noticed before or not, but we never had a folder called test output before.
Yeah, we didn't have.
But right after you run it and then hit the refresh button, you will see this folder show up way down here. And in this folder, you have all those information you want as reports. There is many, you only need to worry about 2. So let's take a look at it. If I expand open and zoom in on it, all of these have some sort of purpose. But you really need to look at 2 things. One is called emailable report.html, and the second one is index.html. Emailable report is something you can email to somebody and they'll be able to look at that report if needed. You're going to get questions about reports in your interview. How do you generate reports? Where do you see the reports? Basically, just say, in my local, we have a test output folder, and in that we have a file called index.html. And we go into that index.html to get our reports. But later, I'm going to tell you that this report is also going to be posted on a website where you're going to see that. More of that, I'm not going to talk about it today. If they ever ask you, is there a way you can email somebody a report? You can say, yes, I use TestNG project, and inside TestNG project under test output folder, we have an HTML file called emailable-report, and we can send out the link to this HTML file as a report. All right. Let's take a look at how they look like. If I double click on emailable reports, it will take me to this browser. Now yours may not. If it does, great. If it doesn't, you right click on that and click on open with. And if your Chrome browser does not display here, you click on other, and then you will see a browser icon with HTML Chrome document. You click on that and then click OK for the first time only, and then it will by default start going over there. Otherwise, if you double click on that file, it might actually just end up showing you in the console of this Eclipse IDE. Any question about that? Let's take a look at this report. Watch this. It's nice. It's nicer. Why? It's very test-specific information. You got this telling you how many test cases you ran, if there was anything skipped, if there's any test cases failed, how long it took in milliseconds, so basically 5 seconds, 5.1 second, which test case you ran in green that it's passing. It was in the test notes test class, and the name of the test was add new notes. And if you wanted this to show up as a test case number, like TestRail can give you a TestRail number of 001, you can add it into the method name here, and then that would show up here as well. And you could have 100 test cases list right over here. And this URL can be posted. This could, if your company runs these tests, this URL, you can bookmark it somewhere on your computer here. Open it up every day, go in, open that folder, click on that bookmark. It will take you to this page. You look at all of this, all of them green, you're good to go. You can go drink some coffee and make $50 to $60 an hour doing that. Or you could see there's some failure maybe in red, which I'll show you in a second. And then you click on it, find out what the issue is, and start resolving the issue. There's two things that can happen when this test fails. One, what do you think? Test issue. That your test is bad, that you need to fix that, because you manually need to test it to see if your test is doing what the application is supposed to do. And two is bug. You should not have a test failure without resolving any one of these. If it's a test issue, you fix it until this becomes green. You keep on massaging that test. Whatever you need to do, because you know the feature is working manually, then your automation should pass. Now, if you find a bug, the test caught a bug, you give yourself a pat on the back, meaning you have done the job right. You have built something that caught a bug, that's a success. That should give you some confidence that you added some value into the company. At that point, you create a bug ticket, give it to the appropriate developer, and you disable this test, meaning don't run it until this bug is fixed. If you keep running it and it turns red, it's gonna waste your time. So you want to keep this whole thing clean. Since you already found a bug and you wrote a ticket and somebody's working on it, why keep on failing it here? You disable it, don't run it. I'll show you how to do that right now in a second. So that's your emailable report. But I will show you the index.html after I add a few more tweaks here, because one test doesn't really make the report nicer. I don't want to take up a lot of time by coding, but I'm going to copy this test multiple times just to show you. And then I'm going to fail a few. So here's one. Here's the second one. I'm just going to write one over here so that it doesn't complain for duplicates. Suppose I have three, okay? That should give you a good picture here. Two of them are passing and one failing. Suppose I'm going to fail this bottom one here. And I'm going to mess up the password.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Actually, password mess up is not going to do any good because I don't have any validation. I really need to add some validation to this. Or finding the element. I can fail it by not finding the element. So I can fail it right here. That's gonna fail some other things. Okay, let's do this. In this second one here, or let's call this 1, 2, and 3. The second one, I'm not going to use this method. Instead, I'm going to use it directly. And here, I'm going to mess up, put username, hard-coded with this. It's for, yeah, this information is going to be just no problem, but we're going to mess up the element. So here, instead of login, I'm going to take off this LO. So we know driver is not going to be able to find the button to click on it. This is going to fail right here. But this information will get posted. Now we have a test method, test method, test method. What I can do is, even though I have this on the second, I can run this very last. I could set a priority saying, I want you to run this first. So open close parentheses and write the word in lowercase priority.
One.
I think it's lowercase, maybe uppercase. Let's see, equals, yeah, lowercase. Call it 1. Case sensitive. Take that, copy that, run this one second, and you're saying, I want you to run this last. So you know you have 3 test cases. Number this one, 3. Number 1 will run first. 2 will run second. Third one, the one that's supposed to fail, will run the last. Save it. Here's what we have. We have our first test case running, second test case running, third test case failing, and then we'll get a report. So let's run this. This is the third test case, which failed. Obviously, you're going to get some information in the console. No such element, just as expected. Which ones run, which one failed, which is really nice. Not bad. But this is if you were to use Eclipse on your local. But what if you're running this automatically somewhere else without even you having to be in your computer? You can just go on your phone and check the report. Well, that report is going to be here. You would refresh, go open up this test output folder, go into emailable report, and look at this now. 2 ran, 1 failed, total 12 seconds. All the ones that passed are this number 1 and number 3, and number 2 failed. Number 2 failure information is also here listed. You can also click on this as a link and it will take you there. And you scroll up to go back up there if you want to. So there could be like 10 or 15 of these failures. You don't want to scroll and look for it. You could just click on this and it will jump you to that particular failure. So tomorrow you could be in your office and like, oh, this failed. Let me see why. Click on it. Bam. You're right here. Oh, no such element. Where? Where did it get no such element? It got it for the CSS selector that we were trying to use in name with that information. So something wrong maybe there. What's the test case and line number? You go all the way down. Or For TestNG, it might be a different one here. Let's see. Let me know if you see it. Mhm. JUnit gave us the very last line that had the class name and page number. This one is kind of hard to find. Right here. See that? Test.notes test.add new notes number 2 and Java 37 line number. And that will be this right here. Okay. Any questions so far? In the project that I'm working on in my company,
No.
this becomes a link. And I can click on the link and it will take me there on the failure. Let me see if from the console. So if I run this, I want to see if this feature is available here or not. You can click on that and it should take you there. Yeah, it becomes a link right here. So if you run it in your console, you just have to find that test package and notes. So here's your failure reason, no such element. If you scroll through that, find that package called test. I just saw it there. Test.notes notes and then 37. This is a link. Click on it and it takes you to the problem where it failed and you can fix that. So that's your console and emailable report. You also have HTML index.html. If you click on that, you see something like this. And this gives you some information like this. 3 methods, 1 failed, 2 passed. Pass methods, you can click on it to expand and show or hide failure. But take a look at this. If I show it, these are the 2 passed. This one failed. If I click on that, kind of the same thing, just looks different. This one took me there with a little bit more colors and so forth. Zoom in and out. Whatever you saw in the console also got posted right here. Test.notes, test.add new notes. Line number 37. Okay, that's all the difference there is. This is the link that will be posted. If your company runs it in their server, you would need to bookmark that link and then just go every day and check your report here. You only need to worry about the failed test cases. And either that becomes a test problem, you fix the test, or becomes a bug and you write a bug ticket. Any questions about TestNG reports? Okay. Then let's go ahead and finish up our test and I'll show you a couple of tricks on how to add base page and utility page. But before we do that, we'll take 5 minutes break. And come back and do that. See you in 5 minutes. Let's do this. This was just to kind of show you how to report. I really don't need all this information here, but just you wanted to know, what if we had more classes over here? And that can be done. Let me get my pen tool out. So what if I create a class in here and add some information? What I'm going to do, I don't want this login information inside this notes test. I would like to rename this. I can right click on it and go to refactor and rename and make this into a login test class, and then finish. And this becomes a login test, right? And just save and run for one good sake. Make sure your refactor didn't mess up anything, because it can. Only ran one. Run. It's 1, 2, and 3. We're good. Okay. I can create another class and start working on it, and shortcut way to do it, just copy that and click on the test package. So copy and click on the test package and click on paste. If you do that, it's going to say, well, you already have login test. Do you want to call this login test 2 so that you're not duplicating? Well, thank you for the suggestion, but I want to call it notes test, because that's what we want to do. Notes test. So I click on that. And now I have 2 different classes here. Let me go into notes test, clean things up a little bit, because I really don't need this many tests running. So I can take off this one here and take off this one. Okay. With me so far? And I can build my test case farther from here.
Can you copy and paste it because, so that we can paste it in the login class for ourselves? And
Are you trying to do it while I'm teaching right now?
no.
Okay, because that might really throw you off. So let me copy the whole thing later
Okay.
and paste it to you. Because just follow and try to understand first. Because this is gonna get, we're gonna be jumping between classes right now, and this could get really heavy. And if you don't understand the logic, you are never gonna be able to resolve the errors that you're gonna get.
Okay. Okay.
So always take small step and make sure you don't get any error, because one error can mess you up. All right. Now we have this base. We call this add new notes, and we don't need this one. And I'm going to go back into this login test. Let me clear all this up. It's too many things might get confusing. Save and clear. Here's my login test. I'm going to change these names so that the report looks nice. I'm going to call this login 1. Login 2. login 3, and you could have 6 or 7 test cases with negative tests in here. Close that, save it. Going back into notes test, everything else is still the same. Method starts with all of that. Blah, blah, blah. Here's our test case that we're going to be running. But do you notice that for this notes test that we're about to do, going over here, where was we? Let me close some of these windows, might get confusing. So our test case needs us to go here and then creates this. Problem is that we are using this method in 2 different classes redundant. Because right here we have this method called login. And then in this login test, we have this method called login. In Java, you're not supposed to, if you design it well, you're not supposed to have to use this method like that in every single class. That's total waste of work and redundancy and takes up a lot of line spacing. Also not very efficient. One way to do that is to create a class called base class, like a parent class. And all these other classes become children. The idea, what idea is that? What is the concept that I'm talking about? It's one of the class that I didn't do with you and I asked you to watch the videos.
Yeah, it was the recalling the method from the public void, from the other classes within the same project.
The idea is called inheritance. So again, if you missed this class, number 17, do watch this video and really learn it well. You will get questions on these 4 principles called inheritance, polymorphism, encapsulation, and abstraction. These are hard to pronounce, but you have to memorize these and put it on a flashcard. Don't memorize it, you will still mess it up. Put it on a flashcard, have it in front of you before the interview, and they will ask you about what are the main principles of Java or object-oriented programming language. You are going to say these 4 things, and they may ask you to go a little bit deeper into it. In that case, you're going to need this information here. A little bit of information that I posted is good enough. Just be able to say those things. But the video will explain the whole thing to you. The benefits of encapsulation, what it is and why it's needed. Inheritance, what it is. Some of the important facts about and the benefits of inheritance. All of the information that you need for your interview are posted here. Get it organized and be ready to answer those questions. Okay? So inheritance is the idea of taking or inheriting all the properties like we usually do. Children inherit father's properties. So if we build a father and we put this inside a father's property, all children can automatically inherit it. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to build a base class. You can name it anything you want, but generally people like to name it base, B-A-S-E. You can call it parent, doesn't matter. So we'll say base test class, or even just base, simple base. And then you finish and you have this class called base. Okay? What you do is you copy this method where you are repeatedly using in every classes. You're like, why use it in every class? Let's copy this, or let's cut this off. I want to cut it and show you that there's going to be a problem right here. The moment I delete it, this method pops up saying an error. I don't know what you're talking about. Login? What login method? I don't see a login method. Hold on to that. We'll fix that a little bit later. But we go to base page, a base class, and you paste it here. And you got to fix all these problems in here. So one of the problem is that he doesn't know what this driver is. That means you have to instantiate a driver here. WebDriver, driver, you give that, and then import. Come on. Did I spell it wrong? There you go. All right, so we're happy here, but understand that this WebDriver this driver doesn't have any Chrome driver properties because we did not write equal to new in here yet. So it's still going to have problems with using these in here. But let's see if we can make it happen. What if we passed the driver into this method from this class, or even we instantiated in here? Don't want to make it too complicated, but take a look at this. Now that we have this parent class who understands this public void main, there's a method there. Children class, the way this class is going to become a child class, you have to go to the class name and write the word extends. So if I write the word extends, look at this error right here, it's going to go away. So if I say extends, and this is how you make this login test class a child class of the base class, you say extends and write the class name base. Now what happens is all the methods inside this base class is going to get automatically inherited into login test class. You don't have to write it up anymore. And if you look down here, the error is gone. That's the concept of inheritance. Login test as a child now inherits all the methods that are in base page, and we have it here. Any question?
No.
All right. So like I told you, this may cause a problem because over here, this particular driver in this class is getting instantiated and added. But we have this method here called driver. In this class, the driver gets declared, but it doesn't get initialized with that driver property. So this could throw an error or not work at all. So let's run this and see, and we can resolve the issue. Run it. So we got a lot of problems here. We got 3 test case ran, 3 of them failed. And if we look at here, unable to locate element, that was obvious failure. Login number 3, cannot invoke null. See that null pointer exception, cannot invoke Selenium WebDriver find element. and because this driver is null. So what it's trying to say in its own word, and look at this base page login, this is where the issue is. So if I double click, it will take me to that page. Over here, when this call method comes to this and then tries to call it, it doesn't really understand what this driver is. It doesn't have the power to it. But what we could do is we could just pass the driver in here from that particular class, and that would work. So if we say web driver, remember the type comes first and then the name. And we don't even need this. So we have to now pass three things. One, we have to pass the driver, we have to pass the username and the password. This driver becomes this particular driver, and then now he understands. This driver will have all the powers. So if I go back to my calling class right here, when I call this method, login, I also have to pass the driver right there. The difference is that in this class, the driver is getting initiated. The driver has the power only in this class. Because I have this code right here. Just want to say, and come on, is this guy down? There. So this is where all the magic happens. And that magic is being given to this driver here. Even though they have the same name in that base page called driver, that driver and this driver is not the same thing. They look the same, but they don't have the same qualities. The only guy that has the quality is the driver that's on this class only. Does that make sense? Because of this piece of the code. So now that we have this, and in here we have this driver, and anything in here, whenever you call this driver, has all that powers. Has all that power. So it was able to go to that site, but not able to log in because it did not understand what that driver was. But if we pass that driver, the powerful one, into this method through this class, now he's going to understand, oh, this is a special driver. He has the skills to actually put these things in there. So if I run it now, giving me an error. Let's see. It's on this page. Oh yeah, I had gotta use it over here as well. There, two different places. Run it. Now it's able to understand. Third one we failed on purpose. It ran 3 test cases, but only failed 1. And if we try to even fix that, go to login and run. They're all good. 0 failure. Question so far?
What if we instantiate the driver in the base class? Can we do that?
Yes, I thought somebody was going to ask. So what you can do is you can instantiate this driver in the base class as well. Maybe even take this whole thing, this before and after method, all of that into the base page. So what if I take all of this? You still might, yeah, you can inherit all of that. So let's take all of that, cut it from here, and take it to the base and paste it here. Now the father, which is the base, has this driver stuff setting up the properties with the before method, doing the thread.sleep after method. Doesn't matter where you call it, I guess. And we may have to switch this to a test suite, but let's see. Now, no more errors here as well, because it understands. And we don't need to pass the driver either. We could take this off. Go back in here and fix those. And fix this guy. Save it. Throwing a problem because why is that? Well, it's extending.
So if we take it to base data, then why should we write it there in the children data?
Let me find a quick solution here. What if we make this global? Is what I'm thinking might be a problem. And you take this off. So not just at startup, but you're making it global power right here. You're initializing,
Yes.
giving that power.
Mhm.
And now this power could be vested into all of them. Still has problems. This driver cannot be resolved. So create a local change to driver. What does that mean? Change to driver, no? Still the same thing. Create local variable called driver. So you may have to create a local variable. And that will resolve the issue for that. But what if we do it here? Web driver driver. And save. That resolves the issue. Everybody understands that's that. We'll get to it in a second. Let's see. Create method login string. This is complaining because it doesn't understand. That's because in this method, I did not remove this or did not save it. This doesn't make any sense. I did move the driver thing in there. So some of these are very finicky. Okay, now it's gone. The issue was that I did not save this page. So I just pressed Control S, saved it, and then the error is gone. It should automatically save it, but it's a pain in the neck working with this software. So we got all this done. I'm still thinking, understand that this is a local variable and this could override your global variable that got that power over there. This could still fail and not understand what this driver is. So let's run this. So hopefully that's not going to be the complaint. Yeah, it's complaining. WebDriver.chrome.driver system property is not understood properly. Okay, I'm going to do some experiments here. I'm going to see if I can set this property as not before method, but before test. And import before test. So before everything runs, I want you to run this. And then also, we want to just keep that there and initialize it right here. Driver equals new Chrome driver. Now what we're doing here is like architect level of stuff. Now, this is not the best project, so I'll build a nice project for you in a couple of weekends. So let's run this and see what happens now. If he's okay with that. All three fail. Again, invoking the WebDriver, indicating there's some issue with the WebDriver not being recognized in here. So even though this WebDriver is placed right here, it's not getting recognized. Base page has it, but this is not getting recognized. So you're going to have to do it the other way for this particular project, but there are other ways to build this project where it's going to get recognized. So I'm going to bring this back in here and do it like the way we did before. We're going to pass the WebDriver. Driver. And just take this piece, cut it from here, bring it back here. And in this method, we're going to pass the driver. And we're going to require this WebDriver spelling not right. Control Shift F will align this. And if you press Control Shift O, like this, O, what you will notice is these unnecessary imports in yellow will go away automatically. Instead of you manually deleting it, it will go away. So watch this. Control Shift O. There. And then Control S to save all that. We'll go back in here and save everything. There's one error I need to fix down here. Call that. Pass the driver there. Save that. Run it. Two of them had errors. Why? Session ID is null. We're getting pretty complicated on this. Let me run as Maven test. Let's see. And if I go to emailable report or index.html, let's see what that shows up. Login 1 and login 2 failed. Yeah, this has got pretty complicated. I won't be able to show you this on this particular project, but just bear with me. I have a couple of weekends later, we have a page object model where we build a framework, and I will show you how to organize all this stuff inside. But for now, I'm going to show you one method that you can easily use. So let me clean all this up here. I'm going
So
to take
can
this.
I,
Mhm.
Stein, can I please
Yeah,
ask before clearing anything?
yeah.
Okay, can you please go to your base class?
Hmm.
Yeah, please. So if this is the parent,
Hmm.
so if we write the code here, then should we rewrite the code again in the children's class like the login test Java or node test Java?
You don't need to
Because
rewrite, you need to just call it.
right, so only one line can be enough to call all the code from the parent, right?
Correct.
So did you do it correctly or not? That's my question, because it's going so fast that I cannot follow it.
Yeah, I'm going to clean it up and make it simpler because we have too many things going, and
Yeah.
I think something is getting in between. And this project, we did not build it to build a big project where we're going to have multiple classes and so forth. That's going to be something else we're going to do in our page object model lesson. So I really think that I kind of wanted to bring that explanation here, and then I'm hitting a dead end because yeah, I mean I can really figure this out if I had 2, 3 hours, but I don't want to bore you. But I have a
Yeah.
couple of things that I want you to take away from today's class, and I need to get to that so you understand. And it's already 12:30. So
Yes.
let me back up from here, clean this
One
up.
question.
Mhm.
One question. If we request for any information from the base, uh, uh, in that case, does it pull all the information from the base or any particular information? When we are connecting with the word extends, in that time, does it pull all the information from the base to the child?
Yes, you will have
Okay.
automatic access to all the methods that base page
Okay.
has.
Okay.
So let me do it in a smaller scale. It's like really complicated. So I'm going to delete this login test right here. Delete that and just have these two notes tests. And in our notes test, we have these properties set up. And we really don't need a priority one if we don't want to. We have driver.get and login, which is calling this method. We just said we don't need to call this method because if we can extend this to base page has this, we don't even need to call this right here. Has a method. What does it do? The method takes the driver, the username and password, and then starts calling these methods, driver.findElement and so forth. And all three, and then it clicks on it and does what it's supposed to do. So if I go in here and I want to call this method, let me delete this line and delete this. Suppose we don't even have this in this class. What happens is if if I call this method right now, notice this notes test does not extend base page. If I say driver, sorry, login, open close parentheses, and in here, if I pass in the driver, just like the way I'm supposed to, passing the driver, pass in the username, and pass in the password, it's going to give me an error saying I don't understand. The method login is undefined. Do you want to create one? Well, I can create one here, or I know base page has it. I know I keep using it every test case. Why don't I just leave it there, which is there? And I just extend myself. I become a child of the base page. So I can say extends base. If I do that, automatically I have connection. This becomes a child and now inherits all the methods of the base, which is this one, login. And if I scroll down, you will see the error is gone. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So take a baby step, because I can take you deep down in the rabbit hole later, but you're not ready right now, and I'm not ready to show you that in this particular project. I have to build it a little bit differently. Otherwise, it doesn't work well. So save it. I want to run it, make sure everything is working fine. So if I run this, that it's still able to communicate. It's giving me an invalid username because I did put a fake username and fake password. So let's put in the real, what was that? Tech files.
techfieldsdemo@gmail.com.
And ABC123.
Yeah.
Run it. There. We're good so far?
Yeah.
Okay. You just saw that we were able to do that using a base page, and base page automatically inherits, and I don't even have to call the name of the base page. I could just call the method name directly. He gets it. Now, sometimes you may not want to put everything inside a base page, and you might want to have a separate class that doesn't extend, but you want to have it there. And I've seen it happen, and that's called utility class. In short, it's written as util. So watch how I'm going to do this. Let's say I have a method here that right after I log in, I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait for the dashboard to show up or something. Because if I try to click on this notes right away after logging in, it might fail. Or for any reason, I need a little bit of a wait here. So suppose I want to wait for this dashboard. And I want to put a dynamic wait there, which is this dashboard right here. So let's find this XPath for this dashboard. Control F. And I do H2 text or contains text dashboard. There you go. So I'm going to wait, dynamic wait for as long as it takes for that to show up before I click on the notes menu. So who remembers, how do I create a dynamic wait here? It's a class we have to instantiate.
Explicit wait.
Yes, how do I create an explicit wait?
We have to create a method, right? Outside of the class.
We can create a method, but we can also do it directly here. It's that WebDriver wait.
WebDriver wait.
And then we give it a name called wait
Wait
equals
equals
new
New WebDriver wait.
I'll take that, paste it, and
Open close
in the
parenthesis.
parentheses, we pass
Driver,
the driver and
comma,
how long?
maximum time in seconds.
Let's say 30 seconds. And we import the WebDriver. Now with this wait, we can say dot until, remember that? Expected conditions. This part you do have to memorize a little bit. Expected conditions.
Dot
And then
visibility
dot,
of
yeah, visibility of element located. One is elements, the other is element, so be careful. Visibility of element located. And you pass the element right here. And you be done with that. So the element that we want, we said that we wanted to wait for that XPath that we just found for this dashboard name to show up. And that's the XPath. So I take that. And you can insert all of this in one right in here. You could say by.xpath and then put the XPath in there in parentheses, quotations. We've done this before, you remember that, yes? We can put this inside a method and we could reverse engineer, or this time I'm not going to reverse engineer because you've seen that a lot. What if I wanted to scratch write it? I could write a method called public void wait. Or wait for element. In here, I can say three things I'm going to need. I'm going to need the driver, how long it to wait, and I'm going to need the element. Okay? You could even say, I don't want the element, just give me the XPath. You could even take that. Let's do that this time. So three things. Web driver, give me that. Give me int seconds, and give me string XPath. Got the three things declared. And then in here, I'm going to cut this, paste it there, and make sure I'm not hard coding. So what I'm going to do is I want to take this driver's, this is fine. This second, I'm going to take that and replace this 30 with. And this piece, this quotation piece and this piece is the XPath.
Yes.
I'm going to delete that and take this XPath word, put it in here. What will happen is when you call this method, and you pass in three things, these three things will go into these three places. And it will do what it's supposed to. So I could call this method now saying, here's the name. And pass the driver, say 40 seconds, and pass the XPath. And we saw the XPath earlier in this page. And that was this. Copy that. And pass it right there, like that. And that should be just fine. So let's run it one time and make sure it's okay, not complaining. Excuse me. Yes, no problem. Now, why have it in this method, in this class, and every other class? Why don't we put it into a class called wait utility class? Meaning all the kinds of special wait, we can put it in a utility class called waitUtil in short. So here's how I'm going to do this. And there's not the one way to do it, there's many, but I'm just going to show you one. I could create a class in that package called waitUtil. And hey, there's no limit on how many types of util classes you want to have. When you become an engineer, you decide that, oh, I am just keep on doing this method over and over. I'm going to create a new class and I'm going to put it in there. I'm going to start using it from there on. And that will be totally fine. So I'm creating a class called waitUtil in short, and then finishing it. And in here, I am going to just take this method, cut it, paste it here. Okay. And I don't want to instantiate this class or I don't want to extend to this class, but I want to call the name of the class waitUtil, put a dot, and be able to get this method. For you to do that, what do I need to do to this method signature? Anybody want to take a chance? Should know this by now. If I want to call this method with the class name, put a dot, and then the method name. What type of method does this have to be? Static or non-static?
Static.
It has to be a static method. Therefore, I have to write the word public static void and make it into a static method. If I make it into a
Final.
static method, if you want to do final, that's okay. But I wouldn't do final here because you're always changing things.
Okay.
Final is reserved for a variable, but this is the method. So this is good enough. Now, if you call this class right here from anywhere in this project, not just the package, from the project, doesn't matter where, you could just say like this. See, this is an error, but I won't get an error if I say waitUtil dot, and then that gives me this method, wait for element. And this is what it takes. We wrote it. Whatever we wrote ended up here. I wrote seconds, showed up here. I wrote expat, showed up right there. So I can just take that dot, wait for element, and automatically driver came in here. Time in seconds, we can say 30 seconds. And expat, I can take this expat, paste it in here, voila, and I can delete this and never have to write another explicit wait, and it should be okay. What is it complaining now? Method wait for element is undefined for the type waitUtil quick fix. What? I already defined it. Maybe I didn't type it properly or got too excited and wrote something wrong. Wait for element. Go here. Paste. Oh, bummer. Still?
Save it.
I saved it. It's undefined for the type waitUtil. I don't know why it's complaining, honestly. I am saving it. Redo it. See the methods show up just fine. Why is it causing problem? So wait
Save the
util.
waitUtil class.
Save the wait util class.
Okay,
Yeah, save it.
save that. Ah, that did
That's
change.
everything.
That did change something. Wait util dot that driver 30 and XPath. Man, this is so finicky. I don't have to deal with this issue with IntelliJ, by the way. It is a Eclipse. It's a little bit short on this. There is a paid version of Eclipse, probably works better than the free version. But anyway, yeah, thanks. That was a good noticing, Stanley. Thank you. Any questions about that? You just know now two different ways. You saw that we did an inheritance to the base page. And with the inheritance of the base page, we were able to get this login method. And this is not a static method, it's a non-static method. You inherit all non-static methods from your father parent class, which is this base. And you're also able to create a class called waitUtil that anybody else can use without having to be a parent class. Because you can't have too many parents, you can only have one father class. And if you needed more, you can do that and have a static method. And we put a static method of wait, and then we can call that and use it for any single element. And however long we want, we make it very dynamic and quick in one line. Any question?
Not for me.
Okay. I was going to finish up the test case and show you, but time is up. I just wanted you to see those two things. I think we reached what we wanted to do for the purpose of this class today. Go into this homework and take a look at these homeworks. So far from yesterday's class and today's class, you should have two homeworks. One is handling special elements. There should be a test case way down here. Make sure that you have this by now already. If you have not, because I've probably worked halfway on this and so forth. So you create one. If you have bits and pieces of code, just do it again fully. And then in today's class, all the way down here, you will see a test case for add a new account. And that's going through bank, cash, new account. So follow all this and build that. I'm going to clean this up a little bit more here, but this is your project here, practice site. In this practice, if you go to that resources, these are the page names, top banner, dashboard page, add contact page. I'm going to add more in here. These are the scenario titles. Come up with a test case in Gherkin or however way you want to, and start automating these test cases. I would like to see that you have successfully automated 20 test cases by the end of the project from this page or any other page that you desire. Once you have automated 20 test cases, that will answer a lot of your questions and you'll be ready for the interview and you will get all that confidence you need. Without having to do all that 20, you are going into the market and you'll be nervous and they will be able to sniff it out of you that you're nervous. And that's not going to help you much. So this is an independent thing. I don't have any timeline for you. I know you're busy, but you take that responsibility and you start And it doesn't have to be limited to this at all. You create your own portfolio saying that, okay, here's my number one automation that I've done all by myself. Here's my number two. Here's my number three. And you kind of measure yourself. Have you done that 20? And I would want to see it. I am going to have a one-on-one with you. Right before you get on the market, I want to see this from you. I want to see test cases that you automated. I want you to demo me those test cases. I might even be tweaking it. And you can start working that with me now. You don't have to wait till the end of the programs to say, hey, here's my 20 test cases. No, you do one or two test cases every week and start showing me that, hey, I've done this, I've done this. Is this okay? Do I need to change anything? Is there any other way that I could validate it that could be better? And so to speak. So you are now in charge of your own learning and set the standard high up so that you can reach that standard and get the job. Any questions before we end the class?
So it's better to do all the test cases in TestNG, or should we do in the JUnit?
That's up to you. I have no problem you choosing anything. Even in the interview, if you choose any of the test project that you have, that's okay as well. Understand that you are not going to be able to do this. Like have a method inside the inheritance and call it from another class. That's too much for an interview time coding. So you're gonna be coding like line by line the first day how we saw you were gonna have the driver dot find element and blah 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 and everything inside one method. Don't even worry about this because you're only gonna have one test case. Don't even worry about having a startup class. Have this inside this one single method. Does that make sense, Stanley?
Yeah.
So have one method and have all your code in that method and you finish up and you're done. If they ask you deeper questions, then you say, yes, I could do that with this particular. You just need to know how to do it. They will never ask you to do it because it takes a lot of time and they don't have the time to sit there hours and hours. And the test case that they're gonna give you, that could take 2 hours, which is a lot of time. And they might sit with you because they find you very like you are probably the last person. Now they want to make a decision on you. So when they get to that kind of interview with you, you should be happy that you've done it. And you just have to be patient and then finish it. I'll tell you my story. Let me turn off the recording.